Not too often you'll see a second innings score of 201 fall some way short of what the target was. But that's what happened because Punjab Kings had left themselves with a bit too much to do, having seen Lucknow Super Giants pile up a record 257 for 5 in the first innings of this encounter in Mohali. On Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time Out. It's a good evening for the last time this Friday evening to Shaun, Tait and Amol Muzumdar. You'd say by the end of it, Punjab fared slightly better than we did on our quiz that started this evening.
That wouldn't have been difficult.
Yeah.
it was an easy one to do better than.
It did feel like game over in the first half. It's hard, even considering 260. But you assume in a game like this, with a points table as tight as it is right now, damage control takes precedence. And in that sense, Punjab didn't let their net run rate get hit as bad.
Look, I mean, talking from the Punjab's point of view, halfway in the game, you cannot leave the game. You cannot think that you're going to lose the game. You just have to go after that total. And I felt that this was the evening where they needed something extraordinary. And for that, you need to think around with your batting lineup. I felt that, Shah Rukh Khan or Jitesh Sharma should have got a little up the order and probably force the pace. They needed something really special right at the top, in the top 3, which didn't happen. And we saw that, Tait, didn't we, in the first innings, where Lucknow, who at times have been guilty of holding back a Stoinis or a Pooran for far too long, they recognized the belter and allowed their power hitters as much time in the middle, whereas over here, you saw someone like a Liam Livingston coming in only in the second half of the innings. Even Jitesh Sharma, who's been in such great form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lucknow just got everything right tonight. It looked like some good planning, letting it go and letting the guys go out there and get after it. And I think Punjab, although it was a wicket where you could sort of play some good cricket shots as well, and it was okay. I think you're right. I think Raza maybe should have been held back a little bit, possibly. Livingston straight in, and like the other hitters that Amol's talking about as well. Just get them up there and have a go and see what happens. Yeah. Because they've got a depth of hitters. Right. And you saw 3 of them come in the last few overs. It's just a bit of a waste. And you're right. You got to take your chance and just go after that big total. You never know what might happen. So a bit disappointing, but yeah.
One batter who did make a mark, made an impression from number 3 was Tait, playing his 4th game, but can already mark his season as 2 parts. He opened in the first 2. Pushed down to number 3 in the 3rd, had an impressive cameo in that game at Wankhede, and now another innings that will instill a lot of belief in a new player.
Absolutely. I feel this kind of an experience will go a long way in his career. He's been a steady player, probably one of the most recognized players in Vidarbha team when he plays domestic cricket. Very reliable for Vidarbha. He's got a good first-class record, and that's the reason he finds himself into the IPL setup. And I'm glad that some of these domestic players are getting their dues, and they're doing pretty good in whatever small outings they're getting.
Yeah, and you look up his numbers, you see there's an average of 42 after 15 first-class games, which shows an amount of solidity. And at least through the power play, there were some proper shots and drives through the infield.
Yeah, I mean, he is basically a very good first-class cricketer. So you know that he does well in the red ball cricket. So he's got those shots, proper cricketing shots, and that is what was required today. But I again feel, sometimes you just have to tinker around with the batting lineup just to see what, where do we get at a halfway stage. Probably at over number 10, they could have had somebody like Jitesh coming in, or Liam Livingston, as Shaun said. Just throw them up the order and see what happens.
And then that is a point that Punjab will consider later, but just completing on Tait after that impressive power play, he did what you did all those years ago, hit Amit Mishra for a huge 6.
He did, He must have had a video clip of that game, just to make sure knew how to go about facing Mishra after watching my glorious 6 at Delhi that night.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
I'll
I
ask
doubt
you.
that.
I'll ask you.
After your school, yeah, after you.
Absolutely. Just after finishing my boards. Enough on me and that one day Shaun Tait hit a 6 in the IPL. Let's get some serious questions to Shaun Tait in. Naveen ul Haq, he stands out from this Lucknow bowling effort. He's filling a Mark Wood-shaped void in this team, which is, despite being a very different bowler to Wood, but he's doing the job. 3 games in, barely been giving runs and among the wickets again today. Yeah,
he's filling that void very well. Actually, I've worked with Naveen before with Afghanistan for a bit, and he's a great guy to work with. He's extremely confident, quietly confident, knows his game very well. He's possibly got, I think, as far as world cricket goes, or 2020 world cricket, his change-ups are as good as anybody. But he bowls them he bowls a lot of them, but he bowls them at the right times, and he's got that great angle. I think he's improved a lot. He had the angle, but he used to hang the ball outside off stump a lot. And he got found out in a World Cup, in a T20 World Cup in Abu Dhabi against India, where he took a bit of tap. And since then, that angle into the stumps now, he bowls much straighter, and he's very difficult. He's very difficult to negotiate. And I think he's come in leaps and bounds, and he's been one of those guys. Not a find because he's been around, but a find for the IPL.
Yeah.
And hopefully going forward now, teams can recognise this and actually go, we want a guy like this on our list. Yeah. And
it's even more notable. It stands out a lot more what he's doing because Mark Wood's obviously not been around. And if you look at the domestic pacers, especially Avesh Khan, they haven't really stood up yet for Lucknow.
No, they haven't. I mean, Naveen ul Haq has been a revelation, I feel. Somebody to come in straight away and fill the boots of Mark Wood. It's not easy, especially at this big stage like IPL. Credit to his work ethics, as Shaun is saying, that in Afghanistan he's worked on some particular delivery, which is bowling really well. And it's an awkward angle to face as a right-hander, and especially when it's landing within the stumps. That is the time you got to be careful as a batter. So he's making everyone sit up and watch him. Credit to the associate nation cricket as well, where there is a little bit of depth where IPL can tap into.
And all those variations you'd reckon would make him even more of a handful if pitches continue to keep slowing down. The second half of this season, Lucknow all of a sudden, even when Mark Wood is fit, will have a bit of a debate almost.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly what's happening with the Wood situation. He's also got England to think about. I guess that seems to be with some of the English players at the moment. There's some looking after going on, which is fair enough. They got a big summer coming up, but regardless of that, Naveen. I think the other thing with Naveen is he's extremely fit. If you look at him as well, he's in great shape. He's a good example for other guys as well. He keeps himself really fit, really focused professional cricketer. And I think he's been waiting for this chance for a long time as well, and he's taking it. So he's also really good in the field. That catch he took last game, a great catch as well. So he's doing really well. Yeah.
When it comes to signings, teams get judged mostly on the big money signings. Yet you could look at this: someone you bought nearly at base price. This is not a big ticket purchase, but it's someone who's coming and filling such a specific role, and could yet be so vital, especially if Mark Wood is not available as he is right now.
Completely, I agree with that because he came at a base price. See, these are the gems that you need to find, and you do tend to find them in the IPL. I keep going back to the auction for Lucknow Super Giants because they've had a fantastic auction, especially Gambhir being there. They had their players marked out before the auction, and they went after them, and they bought, in Naveen ul Haq or even Nicholas Pooran. They had a lovely outing last season. They didn't have to do a lot of tinkering, but still they went at Nicholas Pooran number 6, who would change the course of the game. They needed that in spite of having Quinton de Kock. And they're getting the rewards now.
Trick's going to be probably the next auction. They're trying to keep them all. I mean, there's still a lot of cricket left in this IPL. We don't know how it's going to end, but at the moment, that's going to be the hardest thing. Is probably whenever the next auction is to try and keep these guys.
Yeah, and at the moment, what we don't know is whether there will be a next auction. I've heard that a lot of teams in favor of maybe moving to a draft system as the league moves on. Still some way till we find that. Let's also take a moment to recognize Yash Thakur, who came back into this side. Finishes with wickets that came towards the end, but 4 for 37, and having not played for some time, will again, like we spoke about Atharva Tait, do a lot of good to a young player's confidence.
Yeah, again, he comes from the same state as Tait. Vidarbha, he plays for them, bowls a decent pace, in first-class cricket. He plays all 3 formats for them and keeps doing well. Yash Thakur, he's got a good slow one, change of pace. Subrata Banerjee has been, I know for a fact that he's worked really hard on him. When he was there in Vidarbha, I think he has also come a long way. Along with Tait, Yash Thakur, they're all upcoming youngsters from one state, Vidarbha.
It's a day that ends up being one where Lucknow Super Giants put their all-round might on display, because the kind of batting depth they had was shown in the kind of levers it allowed their batters. And then you come out, 9 guys have a bowl.
Yeah, they're showing their all-round muscle. Probably an extra one there because Stoinis got injured as well.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of guys having a bowl. But that was one of those times when you can do that.
Yeah.
Pretty much knew early on they were going to win the game. Give guys a bowl, and you know what? It's not a bad tactic in a game like that anyway, because we saw with Punjab how it went. Whereas these guys, it was one of those wickets where it was a beautiful batting wicket. Let's throw the ball around to different guys and see what we can. If we can steal a couple of overs. You know what I mean? So if you're a batsman on a wicket like this and you're seeing different people, different bowlers, you've got to adjust, I suppose, rather than just keep going all the time with the same 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah. Ayush Badoni was that 9th bowler who delivered 1 ball after Marcus Stoinis got injured at the end of his second over. Makes it only the second time an IPL side has used 9 bowlers, the last time being when RCB were bowling after having smashed 248 against Gujarat Lions back in 2016. Let's take a look at what this result means to the points table. It means something significant for Lucknow Super Giants. The winning team here today was always going to join that top 3 on 10 points. Lucknow, with the victory margin, have also pushed themselves above Chennai and Gujarat Titans on net run rate, and actually not too far from Rajasthan Royals. And Punjab stay on 8, closer to the bottom than the top. Every win makes so much of a difference. It's that week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we said in the show, and Ravi said that it's a moving week. There you go. Lucknow Super Giants were 5th in the table, and they've just jumped a few places up. So it just goes to show that one super game can propel you in that points table. They've gone to number 2 now.
While you look at that, Shaun, you have to spare a thought for Punjab Kings, who have had this day where you've conceded nearly 260. It's Friday night. By Sunday afternoon, they will have travelled from Mohali to Chennai to play Chennai Super Kings, who are on the top, in the afternoon at Chepauk.
Yeah, close. Quick flight. No, that's from one side of the country to the other. But you know what? I think it's a good thing, because you get beaten like this, you got to get back on the horse straight away. I think that's actually a really good result. Don't think about the game too much. Get on the flight, down you go into the furnace, and see how you go down there against the best side in the comp. But that'll be a good match.
Yeah, that is on Sunday. Before that, there's a lot of action coming up on Saturday. Before that, it is good evening, and thank you for your company, Shaun Tait and Amol Muzumdar, through this Friday evening. Not so many runs, or a fair few wickets. Hope you guys had some fun today.
Entertainment, yeah, very good.
Yeah, an entertaining quiz, which I'll not forget till the end of the season.
We won't do that
again. we got 1 out of 10.
Yeah, between the two of you, look for a better performance.
Great cricket minds.
Congratulations. Thank you for your graciousness. Thank you for your company. That is all from us this Friday evening, but Saturday means a double-header day. We'll be back here in the afternoon with all the coverage leading up to double-header Saturday. In the meantime, everything after this game, captain's thoughts, analysis, you can catch it on the ESPNcricinfo mobile app, which you can download from Play Store and App Store. We'll be back 3 p.m. Saturday on Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time Out. Good night.